Hi, welcome back to The Scent Advocate. Tonight is the second in a series on fragrances that you can buy as a gift, but not just any gift, right? These are going to be fragrances that are outside of the mainstream, fragrances they didn't see coming. I recently did one on 7 fragrances, I think it was. Tonight it's going to be 6. Do you have a beverage? I do. Tonight we are drinking, oh, what is it? It is Bengal Spice Tea by Celestial Seasonings. I think it's Celestial Seasonings or Teas. I'll put it in the notes. I can't believe I forgot. Wonderful stuff. I spike mine with a little bit of milk to give it some, I don't know, some depth. Makes it feel like I'm drinking coffee late at night when Mark gives me a hard time about doing that. And tonight he did. So it's tea, herb tea instead of coffee. All right, let's jump right in. So the first selection for this evening, fragrances from the niche and indie side of the house, also an luxury designer that I think would make absolutely spectacular gifts for people in your life you might want to buy fragrance for is Indult Cuir 104. All right, wait. Here we go. Excellent. I'm going to try something else, okay? Up. Oh, it worked. Okay, so I got a tip from a wonderful subscriber. You know who you are, who told me this, then this, and it works like a charm. You are a genius. Okay, Cuir 404 by Indult. This is a 50 ml EDP. It's a 2024 release, and it goes for about $220, so not exactly cheap. This is a cardamom, bergamot, cedar clove, cistus, leather, pink pepper, suede, and vetiver. So this fragrance, oh, it's so beautiful. This is suede meets clove and cardamom, big time. But it's not loud. It's not overbearing. Clove can be overpowering for sure. This is not that. It's soft. It's very unisex, very gentlemanly, very ladylike. The person who wears this is a person of authority, makes you feel safe and comfortable. There's also a little bit of a creaminess to this, something enveloping and almost warming. You ever have a shower and in the shower you use one of those in shower lotions or an oil, and the water's really hot and it just kind of seeps into your pores, and when you get out, especially if it's chilly, when you get out you feel warm, even though you should feel cold because you just got out of a shower. But there's something about that oil or in shower lotion that just it's almost like you're wearing clothing, and it just comforts you, like not just clothing but warm clothing, and you're wet but it just kind of beads off and it doesn't chill you in any way. That's the kind of sensation I get from this. It's very comforting. I do think this is something that would be better suited for the cooler months, but hey, you do you. I think it's got qualities to it, that comforting creaminess, that spice and suede that are kind of universally likable, but it's not too heavy, which I think makes it a lot more universally pleasing. Cuir 404 by Indult. Let's move on. After we have a little more it's got to be Celestial Seasonings, right? But seasoning sounds like something you'd put on like a steak, right? Sorry if you're vegan. I used to be a vegan myself. Did I tell you guys that? It's a long story for another day. Okay. Next, I love this one. I don't know why it doesn't get more talk. It's Widian's Cotton. Ha! It worked again. Okay, this is an EDP. It's 100 mil. It goes for about $185, and it is a 2024 release. The nose behind this, by the way, is Marie Solanier. I hope I'm saying that correctly. This is honey, green tea, lemon, jasmine, orange blossom, heliotrope, patchouli, cedar, and vanilla. This is, oh gosh. This is fluffy, almost sweet cotton. It's not cotton candy, but it leans sweet, even though it's not a traditional gourmand. It's not an untraditional gourmand. It's not a gourmand. It's a kind of feminine leaning, sweet, floral. Gosh, what else is popping out in this? I guess it's a vanilla heliotrope, and I think that gives it that, and along with the honey, that sweetness. But it really does make sense that they called it cotton, because you can imagine this being the most luxurious high-end hotel terry cloth robe you ever put on, or the amazing feather bed that you'd sleep in at said hotel. And you just know that when the linens are that fine, they smell amazing. And this is what they smell like. Beautiful, high-end, high thread count, high-priced, gorgeous. I think it's offset a little bit by that jasmine. Just gives it kind of a little floral depth. Not that heliotrope doesn't, but this gives it something more pronounced in the floral direction, more traditional floral, whereas heliotrope, I think, just has this really soft, powdery, a little bit green expression going on. Absolutely stunning. I reach for this all the time. It's beautiful, very easy, leans feminine, but gorgeous stuff. I can't imagine anyone not liking this. Cotton by Widian. All right, next we have Utopia by Tumi. This is an X-Trade, a 2024 release. It's 100 mil and it goes for about $135, which I think, as fragrances of this quality go, it's a steal. It's pink pepper, jasmine, and vanilla. Pretty linear, right? But exactly as the notes say, except I get some citrus in here, like an orange, maybe even a Meyer lemon, a little zippy, but more sweet than zippy, giving it kind of a brightness. Not that the pink pepper doesn't, but the pink pepper is, it's almost a fruity, florally, it's starkly contrasted to black pepper, right? And I just think it's not the same pepper expression, and it doesn't give the brightness that a citrus does. And I do detect a fair amount of citrus in this. Universally likable. I definitely think this leans feminine, but not a whole lot. It's unisex for sure, but just a little feminine leaning. Again, an easy reach. This would be any time of year, any time of day. I love the bottle too, right? It's so easy. Oh, I did it wrong. Oh boy, I screwed it up. Sorry. You know what it says. The point is, this is a magnetic top, and this is a beautiful kind of brushed pink metal. Love it. And the bottle is just classic and easy. It goes with everything. Gorgeous stuff. Tumi's Utopia. Check it out. Moving on, we've got, oh yes, who doesn't love the cow by Zoologist? Oh, yes. There we go. This is an X-Straight. It goes for about $200. It's a 2022 release and it is 60 mil. The nose behind this is Natalie Feistauer. This is a fruity wood fragrance, right? It's got sage, apple, milk, lily of the valley, heliotrope, violet, so on and so forth. You know, musk and amber. I get apple, milk, and violet. And for me, this just paints the most beautiful picture of, you know, it's a fair amount of lactonic notes in here, okay? And I think that's, you know, kind of a nod to the whole cow thing. But this gives me the image of, you know, these beautiful, like, Holstein cows kind of grazing in a beautiful Kelly green pasture somewhere in Ireland, and you just know they're gonna milk the cows and make butter from the milk, and it's gonna be this beautiful yellow color, and you know it's gonna make everything taste amazing, especially toast. I just, yeah, that's what I get. This transports me to that visual, that image of, you know, just pastoral perfection. That is cow. It is probably squarely universal. I associate this as being, I would say it's a little more feminine leaning, but that's just me. Um, because I'm judging by my husband, Mark, who, you know, he's a, you know, very much, you know, a guy's guy, and he would not wear this. But he likes it on me. So I don't know. I mean, you do you. Everyone is different. I think it's unisex, beautiful. It's transporting lovely stuff. I can't imagine anyone getting this and not loving it, unless you were to give it to my husband Mark or my brother. He wouldn't like it either, but everyone else will. I promise. I'm kidding. It's Zoologist Cow. All right, moving on. We've got, oh yes, did you see this one coming? It's a classic. It's Chanel number 19. Chanel number 19, there we go. Poudre, Poudre, how did I do? Did I say it right? All right, so this is an EDP. It's 100 mil. It's a 2011 release, and it goes for about $185. This is Jacques Polge. This is Rose, Ylang Ylang, Lily of the Valley, Galbanum, Neroli, Orange, Iris, Jasmine, Vetiver, Musk, Tonka Bean, and it is lovely. Now, I used to have a very hard time with the original Chanel number 19. It just, for some reason, I mean, I was very young, and my appreciation for exceptional fragrance was relatively limited. I always enjoyed fragrance, always. I think this was just too complex for me. But I always went back to it, and I would test it again and again, but I just didn't get there until I learned about this Poudre version, and I smelled it and I was sold right away. This is just a whole other take on it. It's so me, but you're probably not buying a gift for me. You're buying it for someone else, let me tell you. This is a powdery floral and green fragrance. It's very spring-like. Think of clovers and, you know, moss, just a little bit, growing around saplings and other springtime flowers, you know, fresh cut daffodils, and the way it smells, you know, the way the stems smell, a little fluid, a little aqueous, but fragrant, right? An easy reach, very hard to dislike. I think anyone would like this. I do think it leans a little feminine. This also reminds me of shopping in a certain store when I was pregnant with my daughter. There's just a peaceful, comforting vibe. I'm going to go ahead and say it. When I used to shop at Bye Bye Baby for things for my little girl, I just remember it's almost got like a Dreft, a very faint hint of Dreft detergent. When I was pregnant, people told me, make sure you use Dreft on the baby's clothes and wash the clothes before you have the baby, because it is going to create a scent memory for you. And that is so true. It absolutely did. So I went out and I bought the Dreft. And of course, I was a complete germaphobe while I was pregnant. And I washed everything that I got, from the baby shower and things that I bought for her. I knew she was going to be a girl. Way in advance, and I had her whole nursery set up and everything. And I just remember that smell, those wonderful smells. Most important thing I ever did and ever will do. And this is kind of a nod in that direction, maybe more of a nod than at first I realized. But I think to the average person, this will not smell like Dreft. It won't remind you of Dreft. But it will give you that powdery floral green, very peaceful. Like I said, universally likable. I don't think you can go wrong with this one. This is Chanel number 19, Poudre. The last selection for this evening, can you guess what it is? It is Gris Dior by Christian Dior. Do this right. There it is. There it was. Okay. Beautiful stuff. This is a 50 ml. It goes for about $230. It's a 2017 release, and it is an EDP. This is Francois Dumaché. The notes in here are oak moss, rose, patchouli, bergamot, cedar, amber, and sandalwood. This is a rose forward sheep, and I love a sheep. It's sophisticated. It's feminine leaning, but unisex. My gosh, this reminds me of a professor I had when I was an undergrad. She was one of the most beautiful women I ever saw in person. She had to have been in her late 40s, and she had a bob haircut. And she wore these lovely, they looked like Chanel suits, with the skirt and, like the boucle. And she just looked stunning all the time, and she smelled amazing, because I always had questions. She taught nuclear physics, and I had no business in nuclear physics. I still can't believe I did well in that class. It's a miracle, because I count on my fingers. I just cannot add. I always say if I could do math, I would have gone to medical school and not law school. Okay, so, and I'm not alone. I think many an attorney thinks that. Anyway, she was amazing. She was a gifted instructor, because if she could teach me and the other pre-law guy who managed to get in her course, she's a genius. And she reminded me of this actress. Her name was Sid Charisse, and she was just the epitome of class, stunning, such a presence. And I remember just being struck by her, saying, this woman is amazing, and I want to be just like her one day. And I'm not, but she sure as heck taught me a lot. She was incredible. And this fragrance makes me think of her. It couldn't have been what she wore, because it wasn't released. I'm talking about 1,000 years ago when I was an undergrad, but oh boy, it was something similar. She was amazing. Dr. Alozi, if you're out there, thank you. You were a tremendous influence on me. And this is Gris Dior by Christian Dior. That is it for tonight's selections of fragrances I think you would be very safe to buy as a present, as a gift for someone in your life who wants something outside of the mainstream. Again, these fragrances I think are universally likable, very, very pleasing, entirely palatable by those who don't dare venture down like an animalic or a barnyardy kind of oud scent trail. These are complex, interesting, conversation worthy fragrances. I think they would be enjoyed very much, but not what your average person is likely to run into on their own. So let me know what you think of these selections in the comments. I love getting your comments. I read them. They make my day. They're so incredibly inspiring. I'm grateful for each and every one of them. And hey, if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you enjoyed this content, give me a like. Let me know if I left anything out between the previous video and this one. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.